Get an idea of the makeover happening at the City Council. Look no further than the panel we have here tonight. We've brought 4 fresh faces to the table. All of them will be first-time aldermen, all of them replacing longtime City Council members. All won their elections outright with more than 50% of the vote. Joining us are William Burns, Alderman-elect of Chicago's 4th Ward on the city's near south side. He's currently a state representative and worked on Barack Obama's staff when Barack Obama was in the state legislature. Matt O'Shea, he's Alderman-elect of the 19th Ward on the far southwest side. He's an aide to current longtime Alderman Virginia Rugai. Harry Osterman, Alderman-elect of the 48th Ward. He's currently a state representative whose mother was 48th Ward Alderman in the 1980s. And Ameya Pawar, Alderman-elect in the North Side 47th Ward. He works at Northwestern University and came up with an app to deal with the city's pothole problem. Welcome all to Chicago tonight, gentlemen. Good to have you here. Ameya Pawar, I want to start with you because I understand that this victory came as a surprise to you. You were headed to your family's, to your parents' house in Des Plaines when the results started coming in.
Yeah, we just didn't expect the results to come back that fast. You know, I wanted to spend some time with family and watch the results come in, but on the way there, the numbers were coming in, so.
Is it true you didn't even have a victory party planned?
Yeah, we weren't looking that far. I was knocking on doors right until the very end.
So, Will Burns, day after reaction to winning this race?
I'm very relieved and grateful to the support of the people of the 4th Ward. We ran a really competitive race. There were 6 other candidates, and really honored to receive their votes yesterday.
Matt O'Shea, we heard Mayor-elect Emanuel say today that he wants a partnership with the City Council. How do you envision the relationship between the City Council and the new mayor?
I'm looking forward to working with Mayor Emanuel. I think this new council is going to be independent. I think this new council is going to understand right away our feet are held to the fire. Taxpayers want to see solutions. Taxpayers want to see these problems addressed. I'm looking forward to working with him.
Harry Osterman, the model for the City Council-Mayor relationship has not been one of a partnership. I mean, I think it's fairly safe to say it's been more of a top-down kind of a thing. I mean, do you take the mayor-elect at his word that he's looking for a partnership?
I think he is, and I've talked to him, and I think he cares about making sure our streets are safe. He cares about making sure our schools are the best that they can be for the young kids in our city, and that we're bringing in jobs and creating more economic development for our city, which is very, very important. And I agree with Matt that we've got a lot of independent, newly elected aldermen that are going to work with current aldermen to take on the tough challenge that we have at the city of Chicago. And I think that you know, I'm looking forward to working with him as well.
Has Rahm Emanuel called any of you since the election, since last night? Any of you?
I got a call from him congratulating me on my victory, and I thought that was a very nice thing to do. But I have to say this, I come from the 4th Ward, and Tony Preckwinkle, who's now the county board president, was one of the leaders in the Progressive Caucus. And I think there's an expectation of the people of the 4th Ward that the alderman is an independent and thoughtful legislator, and that's what I plan on doing in the City Council. And so if Mayor Emanuel has some good ideas, I'm willing to support them, but if they run against or run counter to the folks of the 4th Ward and our expectations of what city government should be about, I'm going to have to vote no.
Ameya Pawar, coincidentally, the mayor lives in the 47th Ward.
He does.
Have you been in touch? Has he been in touch with you? Did he give you a call?
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today. It was a good conversation. We're planning on meeting soon.
Did you call him or did he call you?
He called me.
And what did he say?
You know, we congratulated each other, and it was, you know, we just talked briefly about just setting up a meeting.
I see. Do you feel any extra pressure because the mayor lives in your ward?
No.
I mean, the mayor endorsed one of your opponents.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
And so, what do you see the relationship of the City Council vis-a-vis the mayor-elect?
I mean, it's a legislative body. I think the City Council is charged with driving policy, just like the 5th floor. I think it should be collaborative. I think it's a two-way street.
You know, I'd be interested to hear what some of your constituents told you during the campaign as far as what was important to them. Matt O'Shea, what did you hear?
There were 3 issues that I heard, and the last 6 months I was out each and every night knocking on doors in the 3 communities that make up the 19th Ward of Beverly, Morgan Park, and Mount Greenwood. Public safety, economic development, and education were the 3 issues you heard the most. People want to see more police on the streets. They want to see our business trips improved. They want to see the problems with overcrowding in many of our schools addressed.
Harry Osterman, what were your constituents to be telling you?
Similar to what Matt had addressed, crime, schools, and economic development, but I'd also say transparency and making sure that the tax dollars and how those dollars are used that more people know and have input in that. They want to see balance in the city council and the mayor when decisions are being made. So those are some of the things that they brought up to me.
You know, the city has a structural deficit that could be approaching $1 billion. And over the course of the campaign, Rahm Emanuel said that everyone's going to have to sacrifice something. Ameya Pawar, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Well, you know, I've said I would cut my salary in half, you know, or near half. You know, it starts there, and you lead by example.
Yeah, you're taking a salary of $60,000 as opposed to $110,000.
Yes.
What's going to happen to that other $50,000? You just giving it back, or?
Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of so that's a personal sacrifice you're making. Rahm Emanuel has talked about how, you know, maybe it's time to look at how garbage is picked up, how streets are shoveled. I mean, that's been something that's in the bailiwick of the alderman. Is that something that's on the table for you?
Yeah, I think, you know, as an alderman, as a legislative body, it's our job to go through that budget line by line, pull it apart and put it back together so that services are sustainable in the long term.
Well, I think that there's you know, coming from the South Side, there's a real concern about, you know, whether our communities will benefit equally from city government, and there's a real concern about public safety, and there's a real concern about making sure that every part of the city benefits equally from the new administration. And so I know there's an expectation of the people on the South Side that we're not left out when it comes to the good things from city government, and that the burden of balancing the budget is not met by cutting services to the South Side. And there's a real concern that, you know, historically we've not done very well in the city of Chicago, and so I think the people of the Fourth Ward will be very concerned about cuts to services in areas where people feel like they're already underserved.
Although according to Rahm Emanuel, his point is that if you streamline how these services are delivered, that actually the services might not drop, and it's actually cheaper to do it the way that he proposes.
I mean, proof of the pudding is in the eating, and so I'm willing to look at all of the proposals and evaluate them carefully. But the other thing we need to do is look at creating greater efficiency in government. You know, we need to be looking at sole source contracting and having review processes where contracts are not competitively bid at this point, and having some oversight over that. In the state of Illinois, for example, if the governor wants to have a sole source contract, that contract process has to be reviewed by the Procurement Policy Board. There's no such analog for the city of Chicago, and I think that could add a lot of efficiency to what we're doing. There's a lot of concern about privatization deals that have happened, obviously with the parking meter deal, but other sort of privatization programs where there are not a number of different entities brought in, and city council has to rush and make those decisions. So I know in the Fourth Ward, those issues are very, very important.
What are you hearing, Matt O'Shea, about the potential of privatizing other city assets?
I'd be very leery of privatizing any more city assets. That's a slippery slope that I don't know if we want to head down. I think we should look at it on a case-by-case basis. Oftentimes, as I was knocking on doors, the parking meter issue was brought up, and it was brought up repeatedly, and residents in the 19th Ward are very upset about that.
And Harry Osterman, what are your thoughts about the kinds of things that you would be willing to put on the table in terms of sacrifices?
I think all of us have to look at the budget problem, and that's got to be the mayor and all of the members of the city council, and that's going to be something we're going to have to look from top to bottom. We have the pension obligations that we are faced with that are going to take a lot of sacrifice. So internally in the Aldermanic office, I'll look to make sacrifices on the budget, but I think that we've got to deal with the pension problem, because if we don't deal with that now, in the years to come, you know, these pensions are going to be insolvent. So that's something that can't wait 6 months, a year to deal with. It's going to require all of us right away when we're sworn in to take on the challenge of dealing with that, and that's going to be every member of the city council and the new mayor.
You know, what you're talking about has to do with the city's obligations and what is on the table in terms of expenses for the city. Let's talk, what I want to do is go just around the table with a quick yes or no in terms of potential income. Yes or no, are you open to a city income tax?
No.
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 That would take a major change. I don't think so.
No, the families of the 19th Ward can't afford any additional taxes.
Okay, how about a London-style congestion fee? Yes or no?
No.
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 It would depend on how it was structured and how the revenue were to be used. There's some thought to how do we fund public transit, and making sure that our transit system is effectively funded and trying to reduce carbon emissions. But, you know, just on a yes or no, I mean, it would depend a lot on the detail.
Okay, how about a downtown casino, starting with you, Wilburn?
Well, you know what? I'm not a big fan of gaming, a casino, but if the revenue were used to pay down our pension liabilities and not used to fund programs, that's something that I could support.
Yes or no, downtown casino?
I agree with Will. Yes. Personally, I'm against gambling. People are going to gamble, and they're leaving our city. They're going to Indiana. They're going to Michigan. They're going down to Joliet. Something needs to be done about the pension funds. It needs to be done now.
Yes or no on a casino?
I'm open to that, and while I'm in Springfield as a legislator, we're going to look at that this session.
Yes or no on a casino?
No, I'm not convinced that it's actually done, any good in Indiana or Joliet.
You know, two of you at the table, since you mentioned it, are currently state representatives. Are you going to resign as state reps? Can you be an alderman and a state rep?
Who would want to do that? No, you can't.
You can't do it?
No, when we get to the city council, I'm resigning from the state house.
As am I. And we're going to be down there working on the state issues while we transition and get ready for May 16th when we become sworn in as aldermen. But being an alderman in the 48th Ward and throughout the city is a 24/7 job, and my constituents, the ones that came out yesterday and voted for me, are eager to see me and my staff work hard to deal with the problems in our community.
Are you going to be a full-time alderman?
I am.
And Matt O'Shea, are you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Another thing that Rahm Emanuel brought up is that he wants aldermen to subject themselves to the Inspector General appointed by the mayor. Would you be okay with that, Wilburn?
I would be supportive of an Inspector General appointed by the City Council. We do that in Springfield, for example. The legislature, through a resolution adopted by 3/5 of its members, approve a legislative Inspector General who has oversight over the legislature. And I think that makes perfect sense. They're two separate branches of government. There does need to be a vigorous Inspector General covering the City Council. I think it should be appointed by the Council.
The others, in terms of Inspector General appointed by the mayor?
There should be one Inspector General. How it's appointed, I think that's something we can work out, but there shouldn't be a duplicative Inspector General for City Council, and for the rest of city government there should be one Inspector General, and he should get the resources he needs to do the job.
Inspector General scrutiny, you okay with that?
I think we do need an Inspector General. I think we need transparency. Taxpayers demanding it, they need to know that we're doing our jobs.
Yeah, I think we need one Inspector General. I think the process through which we appoint that person, we can discuss that.
Given the fact that Rahm Emanuel won with 55.2% of the vote in a 6-person field, does the mayor have a mandate? How much traction does he bring to this? Mandate?
I don't know. One day a peacock, the next day a feather duster. I think, political wins are tough to gauge. These are tough political times. People are struggling, and, our politics are very volatile right now, both at the national level and at the local level.
Does he have a mandate?
I don't know if he has a mandate, but we're in difficult times now. We're in a financial crisis, and we need strong leadership, and I think he will bring strong leadership to the table.
Thoughts on a mandate on the part of Rahm Emanuel?
I think we all have a mandate. All of us here have a mandate, including the new mayor. To do right by the city, we have to address the budget deficit.
Quickly?
I agree. No, we all have a mandate, and we all have to work together. I think that's one of the things that the people in my community want to see. They want to see elected leaders working together to solve the problems, and that's what we're going to do.
It's going to be a new. The city council is going to look a lot different than it does. There are only two of you who know each other. Is that correct? And the two of you are
we sit next to each other.
Okay, so you know each other. Matt O'Shea, do you know any of the other gentlemen?
No, we met tonight.
And I assume the same with you?
First time I'm meeting the gentleman.
Something tells me you're going to spend a lot more time together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Will Burns, Matt O'Shea, Ameya Pawar, and Harry Osterman. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.